So we're continuing. This is the June 2018 part 2. Okay. So this one is actually pretty easy once you understand what the word given means. So given means it's the probability of both, whatever they're telling you, divided by whatever the second one is, whatever is the second one. So after the word given, the total of that goes on the bottom, the second total. Okay. That's the formula for given. So let's do it. So they're talking about freshmen and reality shows. So freshman and reality shows is 103. So that's the one for both. That's the one that's going to go on the top. And whatever the total of the reality shows is what goes on the bottom. So the total reality shows, if I go ahead and erase this, right? This is reality shows. The total means I'm going to add these two up. So 110 plus 103 is 213, which is what goes on the bottom. You could leave it like that, and that's it. All right, question number 26. So this is a simple graph. So you're going to go here to turn your calculator on, go to y equals, plot it, right? Type that in, and then they only want it on the domain from -1 to 4. Domain is your x. So you're going to hit second, you're going to go to graph, you're going to look for the number -1, that's -10. So go to -1, negative, let me just check that, -1, -10. Yep. So we're going to go here. -1 is right here. -10 is down here. So I'm going to put a dot. The next point I have is 0, 6. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to have another point right there. Another one is going to be 1, 10, 2, 8. So 1, 10, 2, 8. So this is 10, 9, 8 is going to be right there. And they only want us to graph it till 4. Okay, so 3, 6, and 4, 10. So 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 4, 10. Okay, so you're just gonna go ahead and connect the dots. If you're confused as to how to do that and you hit graph, it'll show you what the graph is going to look like. So you just go ahead and do it the way that they did it. So you're gonna go like that. So right, it goes like that. So I'm gonna go back to this and I'm going to connect to the best of my ability. We're gonna curve this right here. We're gonna go like that. We're gonna go down. Right. I'm not gonna put an arrow because it actually says uh, we want it on that domain. So we're just gonna go like this. And again, I'm gonna do my best to not cross that line right there. And I'm gonna go ahead, go like this. No, let me erase that part right there. Do that better. Okay, I'm gonna come down, grab that point, and go up there. And there's your graph. You want to try to do it as straight as possible. Not how I did. I just did on the computer, so forgive me. Solve the equation. Answer in a plus bi form. So the easiest way that you can always solve is a quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is on the reference sheet. Why can't I speak? So the quadratic formula is -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And again, this is given to you on the reference sheet. So that's your x's. So let's go ahead and figure out what this is. So here, our a is the number that's in front of the x squared, which is 2. Our b is the number that's in front of the x, which is 5. And our c is the number that's chilling by itself, which is equal to 8. Okay. So now we'll just go ahead and do it, right? So this says whatever b is, you're going to do the opposite. So b is 5, so the opposite of 5 is -5. Plus or minus, you put a square root. You put b here, so b is 5 again. You're going to square it. -4 times a is 2, and c is 8. Okay? On the bottom, it's all over 2a, so 2 times a is 2. And then you're just going to simplify it and put it in a plus bi form. So we're going to take all of this right here, plug that into the calculator. I want to remind you that you are only going to plug in whatever is under the radical, okay? Only what's in the radical. So let me just go ahead and see if I can highlight that part for you. Yeah, let's use this. So only whatever is under the radical right here, you're going to plug that into the calculator, hit enter. And when you do that, you're going to get inside the radical, you're going to get 39, -39. The -5 comes through, right? And then it's plus or minus divided by 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so now I'm going to break this up. You see how it says in a plus bi form? So we're going to split this up. This is what I mean. You're going to do negative 5 over 4. So negative 5 over 4 is your a. Then you're going to put the plus or minus. And then you're going to put the b, which is this part right here. But I want you to stop real quick and look at this, right? So there's a negative under a radical, which means that an I can come out. And radical 39 cannot be simplified as much as possible. So we're going to split this into radical 39 over 4, and then you're going to put the I, because it's a plus bi form. Okay. If you put the I here, that's fine as well. You can put the I there. You want to just keep it in that form. All right. So this one is a very weird question because it's not really math, but I want you to think about it, okay? So if you have a truck driver, right, and you're driving with a friend, a cousin, whatever, right? You're driving with someone, and all of a sudden, a car or truck comes and cuts you off. You have more of a chance of calling this number, right? About reporting them. So it says the driver who receives the highest number of positive comments will win the recognition. Think about it. If someone is driving a truck and they're doing a really good job, like I personally have never called and said, "Hey, your driver's doing great." I just kind of like been like, "All right, go about my business," right? At least he's not trying to hit me. So, one statistical bias in this method of collection is good drivers, right? Good drivers will probably not get phone calls, phone calls uh, to describe describe their driving, right? However, however, drivers who are reckless may get more phone calls reporting their bad driving. All right, so that could be a bias. So that is a bias in the data collection. Okay. There's a bunch, like people who are bored, they might be more likely to call. That's another bias. But yeah, you could just say that. So the next one is we're going to have to divide. Okay, so we're dividing two things. So they're telling you find the quotient and the remainder. So it's already telling you it's going to have a remainder. So we're taking this right here, which is 6a to the third plus 11a squared. So this is 3, this is 2, this is 1, this is 0. So everything is there. If one of them wasn't, then you have to put a 0 there. Like, for example, if they didn't have an a squared term, then you would have to put plus 0 a squared. But since they have a squared term, we just bring that down. And we're going to divide it by this, which is 3a minus 2. And to refresh how you divide, you look at the first number and see how many times it goes into that first number. So 3 goes into 6 2 times. So that's going to be 2a squared, because a times a squared gives us a to the third. And then you multiply. So 3a times 2a squared is going to give you 6a to the third. And then you switch the sign. So the opposite of just do that. The opposite of positive 6a cubed is negative 6a cubed. And then once you multiply this, you have to multiply this as well. 2 times negative 2 is going to be negative 4. That's a squared is going to come down. And then this is negative, so you have to switch it to a plus. So whenever the bottom one, whenever you do that, you always switch the signs. And that allows this right here to cancel out. That gives you 15a squared. And then you bring down negative 4a, and then you do that again. 3a goes into 15a squared. That's going to be plus 5a times, and then you have to multiply those two. So 5 times 3a gives you 15a squared. Well, 5a times 3a. 5a times negative 2 gives you negative 10a. And again, remember to switch the signs. So that allows this to cancel out, which is good. That's what we want. And this is going to be 6a. And then you bring down the last number, which is -9. And then you do it one last time. 3a goes into 6a. That's going to be 2 times. And then you multiply these, right? So 2 times 3a gives you 6a, and you switch the sign. 2 times -2 gives you -4, and you switch the sign to a positive. So this cancels out, and you're left with -5 as your remainder. So -5 is going to be the remainder. So you're going to put -5 over, and the number that you're dividing by, which is 3a minus 2, goes on the bottom. So this is going to be your final answer. Here's the quotient, and here's the remainder. Okay, -5. All right, good job. Recursive just means that you're going to take one number. So here you're starting with 3. And then to get the next numbers, you're going to go ahead and plug it into this rule right here. So what do I mean by that? So the first number, A1, is going to be 3. So I put a 3, comma. I'm going to state the first 4. So 2, 3, and then the fourth one. So to figure out what the next number is, it says I take 1 plus, and then I do 2 times the previous number. So this right here just means the previous number. So I do 2 times the previous number, which in this case it's 3. So 1 plus 2 times 3, right? 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Okay? So now 7 is going to be my new number, right? So I'm going to, instead of 3, I'm going to use 7, and I'm going to put the 7 here. So 2 times 7 is going to be 14, plus 1 is going to be 15. And since it's first 4, I need to do that one more time. So I'm going to take this number out, and I'm going to put 15 is the number that I'm going to be plugging in, because that's my previous term. So 15 times 2 is 30, plus 1 is 31. There's my first 4 terms. Okay, and I'm done with that. The next thing we're going to do is, it says, can it be represented using an explicit formula? Explicit, according to the reference sheet, is n is equal to a1 parentheses r to the n minus 1 power. So we need to find a common ratio. So how we do that is we take our calculator right here, and you just divide the second number by the first one. So 7 divided by 3 is equal to 2.333. I'm going to change that into a fraction by hitting math, option number 1, which is frac, hit enter. That's 7/3. So we're going to see if the common ratio is 7/3. We'll see if we multiply. So 7 times 7/3, I'm going to go up here and grab it, hit enter, and if I get 15, which I do not, 49 divided by 3 is not 15. You could check that. 49 divided by 3, hit enter, and that's 16, so that is not. So the answer is no. It is not, because there is no common ratio. Because no common ratio. I should have typed that out, but whatever, for sake of time. Okay. So they're looking to purchase a home in Rochester. Who cares? 30 years is going to be important. Has an annual interest rate of 3.6 is going to be important. The house that they want to purchase is just keeping you on your toes. Ha ha ha. Sorry. My dog just flipped out because somebody came by the door. Anyway, the house that they want to purchase is $152,500, and they're going to make a $15,250 down payment, and they're going to borrow the rest. And we want to answer this to the nearest dollar. So all of those things are going to be important. We missed something. Determine their monthly payment. Okay, the monthly payment. So this is 30 years, so we know we're going to have to convert. 30 years, there are 12 months in a year. So to figure out how many months are in 30 years, you're going to do 30 times 12, which is going to give us 360 months. Okay, so that's going to be our months. That's going to be our time, which is right here. All right, so now we want to figure out what it is that we plug in. So think about it, okay? The purchase price is $152,500. So $152,500. They've already made $100, okay? They've already made a down payment of a certain amount, 15,250. So that number is going to be subtracted from the purchase of the house, the price, because they've already put that down. So $15,250. And we're going to hit enter, and that gives us 37,250, which is how much the loan is going to be. So P represents how much money they're borrowing, right? It tells you. So that's going to be 137, what was it? 137,250. So 137,250. And then it says take the R, which is our rate, so 3.6%. 3.6% as a decimal. You're going to move this two places to the left. So that's going to be 0.036. So it's going to be 0.036 divided by 12, okay, because there's 12 months in a year. We're going to close that, and it's going to be 1 plus R, which is 0.036 divided by 12 to the, and this is 360 because we've already figured that out, okay? And then on the bottom, the denominator is going to be 1 plus, and I'm just following this, the R, we know the R, that rate is 0.036 divided by 12, and then to the n power is also going to be that 360 again. So n is equal to 360. We could even write that down. This right here is our R, so we focus and we're like able to figure that out. Good. And then it says -1. Okay, so this just becomes a calculator question. You're going to plug all of this into the calculator. You're going to hit enter, and you're going to get a number that is about 624. So take that, plug that into the calculator, and you should get about 624. If you do not, come see me. Okay, that's the mortgage per month to the nearest dollar. Okay. An angle, standard position, passes to the point 2, comma, -1. So the first number is your x, second number is your y. First number is your cos, second number is your sine of theta. So we're going to go ahead and just draw this. So 2, 1, 2, -1 right here. So what we're going to do next is we're going to draw the line from the origin there. So we could draw our right triangle. Here's our, that helps us to figure out what the hypotenuse is. We know that the x is 2, the y is -1, and they want us to find the exact value of sine of theta. So ka toa is important for us to know. S is sine, so sine of theta is equal to, this stands for opposite, that stands for hypotenuse, this stands for adjacent, hypotenuse, opposite, adjacent, okay? So we don't care about ka and the toa, we don't need to worry about those. So sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So we're going to look for our angle. So our angle is right here. I'm going to look opposite it, and that number is -1, so the -1 is going to go on the top. The hypotenuse, I don't know what that is, but you remember from 7th grade, a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, the Pythagorean theorem. So here's your a and your b, which is given. So 2 squared plus -1 squared equals your hypotenuse squared. So that's 4 plus 1 is equal to h squared. So 5 is equal to h squared. I don't want h squared, I want the hypotenuse, so I do the square root, because the opposite of square is square root. And I get h is equal to the square root of 5. H is equal to the square root of 5. So there is your answer for number 32. Okay, solve algebraically. If it didn't say algebraically, you could take this whole thing, plug it onto y1, plug this under y2, see where they intersect, and that'll give you the answer. So if you do not know how to do what I'm about to do right now, or if you cannot follow along because it's too difficult, at least put an answer down for the intersection based off of the calculator. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do this by hand. So whenever you have something that has a radical in it, you're going to get it by itself. So we do that by doing -x minus x. So this is going to be the square root of 6 minus 2x is equal to, I can distribute this right here, so I get 2x plus 30 minus 9, and then I have to do this minus x from here as well, okay? So then I get x, or 1x, 30 minus 9 is going to be 21, is equal to the square root of 6 minus 2x. Now, the reason why I did that is because now I got this radical by itself, so I can square both sides. And I get 6 minus 2x is equal to, and I'm going to FOIL this, x plus 21 times x plus 21. FOIL, so it's going to be x squared plus 21x plus another 21x plus 21 times 21 is equal to what? What is that? 441? Yeah, 441. Okay. I am not a genius. I just did it in a calculator. Okay. This is 21x. So that's going to give me x squared. Stab it. X squared plus 42x plus 441 is equal to 6 minus 2x. Alright, so now I'm going to minus 6 because I've set this equal to 0 and plus 2x. So minus 6 from here and plus 2x here. And that allows me to cancel this out, which is 0. So 0 equals x squared plus 44x plus 435. So I'm looking for two numbers that add to give me 44 and multiply to give me 435. It might take us some time, but that's okay. Or you could do quadratic formula here, but this is going to be x plus 29 and 15, x plus 15 is equal to 0. And then to solve it, you just take them, set them equal to 0. So you get x is equal to negative 29 by switching the sign, and x is equal to negative 15. Okay. If you check it by plugging it into the calculator, like the y1, y2, you will see that it only one of them works. So the negative 29 actually does not work, and you could plug that back in. I could show you that real quick. But if you take the negative 29 and you plug it in here, it will not equal this. It's going to give you a negative value, which is not true. So the only answer that makes sense is x equals negative 15. Do it, please. Don't just take my word for it. But the negative 29 does not work. Okay. This question right here looks really long, but all it means, difference means to subtract. So we're going to subtract the means. So these are the means, right? 23 and 18. So you're literally just subtracting 23 minus 18. And that just gives you 5. That's the answer to the first one. That was actually worth a point. Okay. All of this you could just this is going to be important. The mean of the standard deviation is definitely going to be important. And the reason I know that is because it's asking us for the 95% to the nearest 100. This is going to be different. This is going to be important. The formula for middle 95% is mean plus or minus 2 times the standard deviation. So the mean again is 0.030. Just take that out so you can see it better. 0.030. So I want to go 0.030 plus or minus 2 times whatever the standard deviation is. Standard deviation is 1.548. 1.548. So plug this into the calculator, right? So 0.030 plus, ignore the minus sign, 2 times 1.548, and that's going to give you 3.13. So the plus sign is going to give you 3.13, and when you do the minus sign, 0.030 minus 2 times 1.48, that's going to give you negative 3.07. 3.07, and you just put a dash between them. So this is the answer for the first one. And again, don't take my word for it. Actually plug it into the calculator. So it's asking you, is the difference in means statistically significant based on the simulation? So the difference, his difference in mean was 5. So if you look, right, 5 is over here, right? So there's only 3 numbers out of 1,000. If you look this 1,000 times, there's only 3 numbers that are going to be 5 or more. So you can say yes, a difference of 5 or more, a difference of 5 or more is statistically significant because it happened 3 or more times. More times out of 1,000. Out of 1,000. Right? So if you look 5 or more, here's 5 or more. There's 1, 2, 3. That's where I'm getting the 3 from. So that happened 3 or more times out of 1,000. So it is statistically significant. Okay. 35. Good. We're winding down, people. So put 63,000 into account. Growing. Okay, compounded monthly is going to be important. Write a function C of t. So C of t is equal to, she's putting 63,000 in, so 63,000 is going to be the number that goes out in the front. It's going to be exponential growth because it's growing keyword, so it's going to be plus. The rate is 2.55, which again, you move the decimal 2 places to the left, so that's going to give you 0.0255. It's being compounded monthly, so we're going to divide this by 12, and that 12 is going to go here as well because they have to match, and then time goes there. So here is your 2 points. Now it says calculate algebraically the number it takes for it to reach 100,000. So we're going to put 100,000 here. 100,000 equals, and we're going to write all of this down. 63,000 times 1 plus 0.0255 divided by 12 to the 12t power. So you could plug this into the calculator. Alright, so I just plugged it into the calculator. 1 plus 0.0255 divided by 12, and I got that number. So this is going to be 1.0, let's just make sure, 002125. 002125. That, and then 63,000 goes here, is equal to 100,000. I know I'm going a little bit out of order, so I'm getting tired, to the 12t power. Okay, so this is being held together by multiplication, so the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides to get rid of the 63,000, and then this cancels out. So now I'm left with, I can make this a little bit simpler. Zeros can cancel. You didn't have to, if you didn't know that, that's not a big deal. So then you would have 100,000 divided by 63,000, or 100 divided by 63 on this side is equal to 1.002125 12t. Let me fix this. To the 12t power. Okay. So you need to remember that the opposite of an exponent is a log. So I'm going to rewrite this just as an example right here. 2 to the third power is equal to 8. Base exponent number. If I write it in logs, the base goes here on the bottom. The answer to a log is the exponent, so the 3 is going to go here, and the 8 is going to go right next to it. So I'm going to do the same thing here, okay? I'm going to do the log. This number here is the base, so that's going to go on the bottom, 1.002125. The answer to a log is going to be the exponent, so I'm going to put 12t here. And this number right here is going to go right here, 100 over 63, or 100,000 divided by 63,000. To get the t by itself, I just divide everything by 12. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and plug this into my calculator. Okay, so just to refresh your memory, to get the log base, you hit math, go down to log base right here. And you just plug the whole thing. Everything that you have here, you just plug it into the calculator, right? So this canceled out, and you'll have t is equal to, if I look at my calculator, 18.14. Now I need to check to see what I need to round it to the nearest hundredth. Oh, I kind of already did that in my head. So 18.14, right? Tenths, hundredths place is what t is equal to. So we're done with that, okay? Height, da-da-da, da-da-da. Okay, so average rate of change, perfect. I don't need to really do too much, even though this is this. So all I need to do is plug this into my calculator. So I'm going to do that. Pause. Okay, so I plugged it in. Everything is right there. Here's cos. Pi is going to be right here in blue. Pi is going to be right there in blue. I have to insert the one that I just deleted, so second insert, option number 1. So yeah, pi is going to be second, and then this sign right here. And then you want to go to the table, because we're looking for 1 to 2. So just if I write on here, so this is my x1, this is my x2. So I plug it into the formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to go ahead and just plug stuff in. So my x2 is 2, my x1 is 1, and then to find my y2, I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to look for the number that's opposite the 2. The number that's opposite the 2 is a 2, so I'm going to put the 2 here, minus the number that's opposite the 1 is 14, so I'm going to put the 14 here. 2 minus 14 is equal to negative 12, and negative 12 divided by 2 minus 1 is 1. The calculator would give you this as your answer, and you would be right. Okay. At what value to the nearest dara does h of t equal 0 in the interval from 1 to 5? So that is also a calculator question, so go back to the calculator. Go to y equals right here, and under y2 you're just going to put in 0 because you're looking to see where they intersect. So this is what the graph looks like. It's going to look like that, and then you're going to try to figure out where it intersects the x-axis at h of t equals 0, or y equals 0, which is that right there, only from 1 to 5. So you're going to hit second trace calc. I think we did this a bunch of times already during this test, so I think I can go a little bit quicker. So I'm just going to go to the first curve. Let's see if my calculator will comply. First curve, sure. Second curve, sure. Yes, sure. And I'm going to hit enter. 2.19. Very good, right? I'm going to round that to the nearest tenth, which is 2.2. So my first answer is going to be t is about 2.2. Okay. And then I can look at my calculator and I'll see, yeah, from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's another point of intersection. So I'm going to hit second calc again, option number 5. I'm going to go over to the second point, keep going to the right. Don't hit up or down, just hit to the right. And boom, it's right there. First curve, sure. Second curve, sure. Guess. And it gives me 3.8. So 2.2 and 3.8. And since it says justify, you just want to say using calculator to find where y1 equals 12 cosine, right? I'm going to put this in right here. 12 cosine, that looks like ass, but 12 cos, parentheses, pi over 3t plus 8 y2 equals 0, where they intersect between 1 and 5. Okay. So this is our answer, and we just justified it. Okay. Last question. Woo! Almost done. I'm so excited. Okay. So first thing, the way that this question is worded, they're trying to confuse you. So this is 16,000 in 1 week. It says X is the number of visits per week in thousands. Okay, so that's important. So this is 16,000. So X is going to be 16. So you're going to go P of X is equal to log of 16 minus 4. Oh, minus 4, not 14. Minus 4. And then you just plug this into the calculator, right? So calculator, we're going to go to a regular calculator, not this. I'm going to clear what's there. I'm just going to hit log. There's no base. And then you do 16 minus 4, or you could do 12 and hit enter, and it gives you 1.07, which rounded to the nearest tenth is going to be about 1.1. So this is about 1.1. Okay, so that's the first answer. Second thing is now we're going to graph this. Okay, so we're going to go here, plug this in. Let's delete that. Let's delete that. So the first one I'm going to plug in is pug. I think I'm thinking of dogs. X minus 4. I'm really tired. And then this is probably how you'll feel the day of the test. So it says to graph it. And this is why it's good to, 1, take breaks, and 2, it is good to make sure that you start with the last question first, which is, if I did that, I would probably bang this question out and get my 6 points. This is the one that's worth the most, okay? So y equals, again, I'm going to go and plug in this right here, so log of x minus 4, and it tells me to graph it. So I'm going to graph it on the thing below. So here's my graph, right? And now I just need to like match it. So if I go like this, I see it 5, comma 0. There's a dot. So if this is 4, this is 6, 5 is going to be right in the middle. So 5, comma 0 is going to be right there. So that's my first point. I don't know why they didn't just go up by 1, but whatever. Do you, bud. 6 is 0.3. So I'm going to go 6. Okay, that's better. Now 0.3. This is 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. No, that doesn't work. Okay, so this is going to be for 0.3, 6.3. This is where a half is, so 0.3 is going to be somewhere around there. I'm going to go back to my graph, go down. I have 7 is going to be 0.47 or about 0.5. So 7 is going to be about half. So I'm going to go about there. And I'm going to keep doing this. Alright, so if I keep scrolling down, I'll see 14 is 1. So I'm going to go to 14, go to 1, put a dot right there, and then we're going to the best of our ability, go ahead and connect that. Let me try to do that again. To the best of my ability, go ahead and connect that and try to get something that looks like this. Alright, it's going to keep going like this. Okay, so that is P of X. And now I'm going to label R of X, which is the 1/2 X minus 6. Alright, so I plugged in 1/2 X minus 6. Make sure that the X is not on the next to where the 2 is. Make sure it is like this. So you're going to go ahead and hit graph, and you can see what the numbers are. So 4, negative 4. There's no negative signs on this. So 10, negative 1. So I'm going to go 10. Again, there's no negative signs on this. So how? I need to go to the positives. Okay, so I'm going to keep going down. Till I get some positive numbers. Here we go. 12, 0. Okay, I can graph that. 12, 0, 14, 1. 12, 0, 14, 1. Okay, so I'm going to go 12, 0. That's easy. 14, 1. Boom. Right? So they intersect right there. Right? So I can go ahead, get a ruler or a straight edge, the side of a test booklet. Let me do that better. Okay, so you could definitely find out more coordinates over here, but this is R of X, so I labeled that, and it's asking you already where they intersecting, right? For what will they provide the same rating, and we already know it's right here, so that's going to be at 14 is where they're going to be the same, they're going to be equivalent, but remember that this is per week in thousands, so this is going to be 14,000 is going to be the answer. That's where they are going to be the same. And then look, we're done. Good job! You can scream now, go outside, play. We're almost done.